See my months feeling like days, days feeling like hours, hours feeling like seconds. My blessings hold on my power. We just get devoured. Wealthy highlights some cowards, concealing all the knowledge, but flossing all of their dollars, man. What the hell is going on? Can't wrap my brain around this thing. You hear my pain in every song. I did my dirt, I cleaned it up. I got my right to correct my wrong. You ain't willing to forgive, no, you ain't strong. Let it go, say I forgive you. Lord, I said I'm with you. Open my people mind, show them the bigger picture. No, don't wanna hit you. No, I don't wanna split you. I'm just speaking the truth, like you and you on that liquor. The game just ain't the same no more. The cocaine just ain't the same no more. Everything I bring is flame straight raw. Understand one thing, this game ain't yours. Lock the doors, okay, you grab it, you get it. You handle your business, you work in your job, you take care of your children, you pay all your bills, you buy clothes and shoes. Welcome to the world, what you doing, what you supposed to do. You ever heard of the saying, more money, more problems, whether you broke or you rich. Just know that everyone got it. Just keep your faith in your father and everything will be cool. Say a prayer every day to make it through, cause I'm so heavy in the game. 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 Cause I'm so heavy in the game. 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 See my months feeling like days, days feeling like hours, hours feeling like seconds. My blessings hold on my power. We just get devoured. Wealthy highlights and powers, concealing all the knowledge, but flossing all of their dollars, man. What the hell is going on? Can't wrap my brain around this thing. You hear my pain in every song. I get my dirt, I cleaned it up. I got my rights to correct my wrong. You ain't willing to forgive, no, you ain't strong. Let it go, say I forgive you. I'm forgiving every hater that hate me, cause I understand your hating only made me strong. Hate me, baby, strong. Hate me, baby, strong. Hate me, baby, that's gonna only make me. I'm forgiving anyone that betrayed me, cause I understand your betrayal only made me strong. Betray me, baby, strong. Betray me, baby, strong. Betray me, baby, that's gonna only make me. Grinding, I get it. I handle my business. I'm working my job. I take care of my children. I pay all my bills. I buy clothes and shoes. Welcome to the world, what I'm doing, what I'm supposed to do. And I have heard of the saying, more money, more problems, whether I'm broke or I'm rich. I know that everyone got them. Just keep my faith in my father and everything will be cool. I say a prayer every day to make it through, cause I'm so heavy in the game. I'm so heavy in the game. I'm so heavy in the game. Hey, what's up, what's up, what's up? You're listening to Connie's son, Heavy in the Game. Yeah, Heavy in the Game. Shout out to Connie's son, man. Shout out to Connie's son. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. I see, is that Troll Killer in the chat? Peace, fam. Peace, peace, peace indeed. And yeah, we here bumping Connie's son because Sarnetta's not bumping him no more. For some reason. I don't know why. But maybe it's because this Negro here only cares for others when he can get hits on his platform. I'm sorry, we had to open that way, but I had to say that. What happened to Connie's son? Am I the only one that's remembering this brother? I'm just saying. Shout out to Connie's son, man. Y'all go to make sure that you subscribe to that brother's page and listen to his albums and support that brother. Send that brother a donation or two. Connie's son, spelled C-O-N-N-I-E-S-U-N. Connie's son. Y'all make sure y'all support that brother and buy that brother's music and send that brother some donations or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because this is a great artist. This brother here is a great artist, man. Yeah, Sa was rocking him hard because Sarnetta always do that, you know. He'll use people for his own purposes, and then after he's done with them, he done with them. Yeah. Block Blues, that's the album, fam.
and it's a fire album. I'm literally saying that every song on Block Blues is like bumping. Yeah, yeah, man. So I appreciate the brother Connie son, and I appreciate the brother Connie son's testimony about what he been going through and his life and the music and all of that stuff. So make sure that y'all get that in your life. Connie's son, and that one we was just listening to, I think it's called "I'm Heavy in the So Heavy in the Game," I believe it was. Yeah, Heavy in the Game. So yeah, just wanted to start off that way and shout that brother out. And yeah, like, share, and subscribe, everybody. Make sure you like, make sure you share, and make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like, make sure you share, and make sure you subscribe. All right? Now, we're going to go ahead and jump right into let me give you one more announcement before we start. The donations that are being taken for the Mac so that we can turn up our platform a bit and be able to bring you more interactive content and even, bring some of you guys on the platform. That is still going on, but I'm getting a little bit impatient. Y'all forgive me. I'm getting very impatient. I'm an impatient person. I'm just being honest. When it comes to something that I want and I need to further the work and the word of the Most High being taught on this YouTube, when I'm saying I'm a very impatient person, even with music, when I want a piece of equipment or when I want something done musically, I stay awake until it's done. And so with this, I told the people that I have a guy that wants to sell me a MacBook. I think that's the name of it, a Mac. But the guy wants a specific amount, and the donations are coming in rather slowly. The first week we was doing it, we got a good jump start, but then it kind of slowed off. So I'm saying I don't want to be taking up donations all the way to Christmas. I don't want to be doing that because I don't want to be passing nobody's bucket for months like that. So I'm getting a little impatient, and I'm seeing a lot of other opportunities with laptops that are, really good for the amount that we have already. So instead of me waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for people to continue to throw in a little donation here or there, maybe I ought to go ahead and buy what seems to be a cheaper one, but still comparable and able to still do all the things that we want. So I wanted to put that out there and see what y'all think before I do that, because it's y'all's money. Right? Y'all are investing in me so that I can invest more in the ministry and invest in you. But you let me know what you think should be, the best option. Like I said, I'm getting impatient and I'm ready to go ahead and push on into this next phase on the channel. But I'm not patient enough to keep taking donations up till Christmas time. I don't want to be doing that, passing the bucket that long. So what I want to do is take what we have now and buy something that is more, suitable for the amount of money of donations that we've taken in. All right. So you let me know. You let me know what y'all would rather me do. Either way it goes with either one of these devices, I'm going to be able to bring the information to you just the way I want it, and even bring you guys in the chats, and we can talk, and, you guys can get links and whatnot. Come on in here and we can share screen shares and slides and all of these different things. So, it's just up to y'all. It's up to y'all. Whatever y'all think is best to do, we'll do that. So y'all let me know in your inboxes or even with your donations as you send them in. Just attach with the donation. This is for the Mac, or this is for, go ahead and get what you need now with what you got. So, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to come and put that out there. So again, we have an opportunity to get the particular laptop that will actually satisfy what we're trying to do right now with the amount of donations that we have, or we can continue on rolling to December and, gather up more money for the one that we actually really want. But the whole point is not me getting what I want. The whole point is getting something that will actually turn up the capabilities of this channel. And so, either way it goes, I will be satisfied with either or. So, all right. So now, y'all let me know what you want to do, and I will definitely, probably before the stream is over, I'll throw the donation link in the chat. But I have a PayPal and I have Cash App, so you can deal with that any way you want to. All right. Now, let's jump into the lesson. Let's jump into the lesson. Oh man, all of these atheists in our community are not African. Let's just say that straight up out the gate. All of these atheists in our community, these are not Africans. These are not people sympathetic to Africa. These are not people that are even in love with African people and even the descendants. Why? Because they're trying to introduce to you a way that is not African. Atheism. Atheism is not African. I want to just say that and get that out the way. Atheism is non-African. Shout out to the real black atheist, Ankh. You're not African. I'm sorry. You're non-African. You are non-African, Ankh. You might as well take the whole theme of the Amun-Ra squad and make it European, because you're not African. If you're an atheist, I'm telling you straight up and down, you're non-African. And again, you hate African people and African descendants. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because throughout my many years of study and my many years of study of many different types of traditions and belief systems and cultures, and really one of my favorite subjects to study is cultural anthropology. I like physical anthropology also, but cultural anthropology is just my thing. I've never, ever, ever, ever once found one specific society in Africa, a society or a kingdom that persists into the 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700 years of this particular cultural society being atheists. And if you can find me one over 100 years old, a society of native African cultured people that are atheists, I'll erase this show after we do it. But as relates to my years of study, I have never found one African culture or society over 100 years span into the great length of time that our great cultures, as we know, like the one we're going to deal with today, 3 and 4,000 and 5,000 and 6,000 years of being one way. And this particular one we're going to discuss today, they have 5 and 6 and 7,000 years documented of being overlessly religious zealots. But I said, you won't find that parallel or any near parallel in any other African culture. You just won't find it. You just won't find it. Africans historically were always a spiritual people. And when you're dealing with the realm of the spirit, you cannot be a non-spiritual believer or a non-spiritual entity. I want to say to you at the outset that being an atheist is foolish as relates to what you even know about yourself. We hear many of these so-called atheist gurus talk about the Ba and the Ka as relates to how cultures perceive those things. I want to let you know now, the Ba and the Ka are not ideas that atheists should be teaching. Because if you're an atheist, what is the concern with things after this dimension? What is the concern of things above this dimension? What is the concern of things that are not explained in this dimension? Why would you even let the word Ba and Ka cross your palate if you are an atheist? The word Ba and Ka denote a timeless existence that has to do with every human that has come onto this plane, a spirit and a soul. Your soul is the eternal part of you, your eternal consciousness, the Ba. And the Ka is your mind and that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful playing field between your eyes. That's your spirit. That spirit is fed and is given its place by you interacting with the tangible in this realm, like air. Air causes the spirit or the mind to thrive. Am I right? It even causes the blood to thrive. That's why you breathe. And so, in a true sense, Ba, mind, Ba, soul, and Ka, spirit, and your body all work together in a beautiful, 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 beautiful dance that proves the existence of the spirit world or the spirit realm. The mind, the soul, and the body. Again, why would you teach Ba and Ka and you believe in only tangible? Most atheists have the confession that there is no God. One more time. Most atheists have the confession that there is no God. And I say most as relates to the definition of atheism. Go look it up and you'll see why I say that. But this particular culture of Egypt, ancient Kemet, by its historical record, atheism was never, ever nurtured as an idea, a theory, a way, a means, a nothing. The people of ancient Kemet were some of the most zealot, overly religious, dogmatic, just over the top religious people that you ever want to see. And I want to let you know, as relates to cultures and even anthropology, cultural anthropology, you will always see this as a parallel throughout all cultures. Wherever you see a pantheon of gods, you will have a overly religious people. Overly religious people. And also let me remind you, even in the same culture's nationality, we have even a projection of monotheism even. Under Akhenaten. Akhenaten instituted or tried to institute monotheism in this dogmatic, overly religious, zealot culture. Let's say it again. If you are African or African cultured and you're an atheist, Brother Michael is telling you, you are non-African. Straight up and straight down. Egypt was never atheist. And in fact, Egypt was overly religious and They even produced a king named Akhenaten that brought forth an idea of monotheism. Let's say it one more time. And hey, Miss Beverly, let's say it one more time for those that, they have this hard thing to get the gears of thought rolling. I said Kemet has always been a overly religious culture and place. They have never historically been atheist. Always believed in spirituality and even deifying entities. I'm saying to you clearly, if you are an atheist in this modern day and you're teaching Kemet, I'm telling you, you're backwards. You're backwards. You're flipped inside out. You're another bad creation because you're literally a mutation. The people of ancient Kemet were not what you are. Ankh, Sarnetta, Brother Polite. All of you guys are, said to be so-called non-believers in the spirit realm or non-believers in God or even a God. This is why I mentioned Akhenaten. Because the parameters in ancient Kemet go from way too many gods, way too religious, to only one God and not so overly religious. But neither extreme contains atheism. I want to make that clear for you before we start. Now, and also that's right, Minister Eric Muhammad, and shout out to Minister Eric Muhammad. Minister Eric Muhammad says that they were not atheists. Minister Eric Muhammad is an older brother full of wisdom. And that's absolutely true. And I put out a challenge in the beginning of this stream, and I said, if any of y'all that hate this channel and hate my teaching so bad because it hurts so bad, disprove me wrong. Disprove me. Prove me wrong, and I'll erase this stream. If you can find me 1 or 2 or 10 or 20 cultures in Africa who were atheists, non-believers in spirit, non-believers in the afterlife, non-believers in gods or a god for a time period of over 100 years. If you can find that, I will erase this. And we're talking about kingdoms. Don't find me one Brother Polite in Africa that died with a note on his chest to say he was an atheist. No, I want a culture, a kingdom, a group of people in Africa for over 100 years that really rejected spirituality. If you find that for me, I'll bite my tongue for the first time ever. But I'm telling you, in my studies, I've not found it. And I'm telling you, you won't find it unless you find one individual with a note on his chest saying, I am an atheist. He will definitely be the black sheep of his culture. He will definitely be an outcast of society in Africa. But that's a nice homework assignment for you to go try. Now, the particular culture that we're pointing at is Kemet. And we're also talking about the truth in the teaching of the ancient Kemite versus what's being taught today. Because although some of the things in ancient Kemet were a mutation and a perversion and very wicked and foolish and very sick and full of psychosis, although much of that is true about ancient Kemet, there are some undeniable truths that are truth, like the existence of the spirit and the soul, or the ka and the ba. Both are nouns. These are not, some idea that is not tangible in any way. And I explained even the spirit or the ka is actually between your two ears. Your spirit is your mind. Uh-huh. Even the Holy Spirit is a mind. And then the Bible tells you when you receive the Holy Spirit that you take on the mind of Christ. The mind. The mind. It's a literal thing. Even as relates to what the spirit is in its metaphysical conveyance, the spirit only exists in its interaction with the tangible. You breathe, therefore your blood gets oxygen. You breathe, therefore your brain works. So the spirit definitely can never be considered intangible, because the spirit's actual drive in this dimension is its connection to the physical plane. Also, the ba, the ka, the eternal part of you. That part of you that never dies. That part of you that God created to be his image and to even bear his own eternal essence. You never die. Your ba, your ka. These things, even the Bible say, are interconnected. Interconnected. Both of these are definitely, again, classified as noun, person, place, or thing. This is not some, idea that you can philosophize away and say, no, now, this is that, and this is, no. A noun is a specific person, place, or thing. And ba and ka, spirit and soul, are both nouns. As relates to what we deal with in the Kemet culture, the ba and the ka have an existence after death. Let's say it again. In Kemet and in that culture, the ba and the ka exist after death. The interworkings and the actions of the mind or the spirit and the eternality of the ba or the soul all have activity, action, and even consciousness after death. This is what ancient Kemet taught. But I'm saying, if you're an atheist, how can you let this culture come across your lips and you contradict yourself? You see, we have these modern Negroes like Brother Polite that he says, this brother here dress up like an Egyptian, paints his face like an Egyptian. Huh? Brother thinks he's an Egyptian. But for all intents and purposes, that same brother says that he don't believe in a God. And if he is in belief or in subservient nature to any deity or any being called a God, it would be his woman, his wife. His wife. And let me remind you, this brother has had more than one God, and he is really a pantheist, because Dr. York was his God, Dr. Sebi was his God, money was his God, and his wife was his God. He's got a nice group of gods. Let's say that again. Dr. York was his God. We even heard the brother say, I don't care if y'all prove Dr. York was guilty and molested all of these children. I will still have to give it up to him as my God. So Dr. York was your God, Dr. Sebi was your God, George Washington and Benjamin Franklin was your God, the money, the dollar, and then your woman is your God. But I want to say something specifically to you. Again, none of those things were gods to the ancient Kemites. So let's jump into this and let's point out a few contradictions in the two existing cultures, the modern Egyptian and then the ancient Egyptian. The ancient Egyptian versus the modern North American so-called wannabe Egyptian. The modern North American so-called wannabe Egyptian says he's an atheist. There ain't no God, and only food, shelter, and clothing is what it is. But the ancient Egyptian said, no, 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 no. There is a Lord of all. I'm going to say it again. There is a Lord of all. The ancient Kemites not only said there is a Lord of all, but there is a King of kings and a Lord of lords and a ruler of rulers. The ancient Kemites also said that the spirit realm is so real that the gods of Kemet are spirits. And I'm going to prove that for you. Matter of fact, that's going to be the first thing I prove. By name, I'm going to ask you to tell me, Brother Polite, Jabari, Sonetta, all these other Negroes, I want you to tell me why this book calls these deities spirits, but you say it's just myth. But it's a spirit myth. We just gave you the definition. Spirit nor soul is myths. They are both nouns. Now, let me get my child her medicine real quick. And we're going to let y'all listen to Block Blues. Heavy in the Game. And then we'll return and jump right into this. Let's pump this for you one time. And y'all make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And you remember what I'm telling you so you can ask these guys, what the hell is wrong with y'all? Why y'all so different than the ancient Kemites? What the hell are y'all teaching nowadays? We'll be right back. Enjoy this.
See my months feeling like days feeling like hours feeling like seconds. My blessings hold on my power. We just get the power. We'll get highlights some cowards, concealing all the knowledge, but flossing all of their dollars, man. What the hell is going on? Can't wrap my brain around this thing. You hear my pain in every song. I did my dirt, I cleaned it up. I got my rights to correct my wrong. You ain't willing to forgive, no, you ain't strong. Then go say I forgive you. Lord, I said I'm with you. Open my people mind, show them the bigger picture. No, don't wanna hit you. No, I don't wanna split you. I'm just speaking the truth, like you when you on that liquor. The game just ain't the same no more. The cocaine just ain't the same no more. Everything I bring is flame straight raw. Understand one thing, this game ain't yours. Lock the doors, okay, you grind and you get it. You handle your business, you work in your job, you take care of your children, you pay all your bills, you buy clothes and shoes. Welcome to the world, what you doing, what you supposed to do. You ever heard of the saying, more money, more
Yeah. That's Connie's son, family. Connie's son. Make sure you subscribe to Connie's son on YouTube and support the brother's his album. Cause Sonetta won't support him anymore. But let's jump back into the lesson. Let's jump back into the lesson. And thank you to everybody that's here. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Now, how many people in here are Kemites? How many of y'all are, bound to this culture? You come on, put a one in the chat if you're an ancient Kemite. You think you're Egyptian. Come on. Come out of the bushes from back there, y'all. Come on, come out of the bushes. We see y'all back there. Come on. Put a one in the chat or say, no, I'm ashamed of myself. Cause see, I know the people that are watching right now and the people that are going to watch, most of them are Kemites. So come on, put your hand up. Put your hand up if you're a believer in ancient Egypt and you even out here thinking you're Egyptian. Put your hand up. Put put your hand up. I want to ask you a question. Are the deities in Kemet these things by name? Osiris, Hapi. Sorry about that, everybody. Yeah, it wasn't buffering. I had to take a call. I'm sorry about that. I had to take a call. And peace to Graham Boston. Peace to Miss Beverly. Thank you for letting me know that, Miss Beverly. Peace to Kendrick. Peace to Vox Insanity. Yeah. But I had to take a call. And peace to Troll Killer. I had to take a call, so I'm sorry about that. Forgive the interruption. But all of the people that are believers in Kemet, come on. Put your hand up. Put a one in the chat if you are a North American Egyptian. Yeah, just one boy in the comment section. Is that you, man? Yo, all right, here we go. So, I want to say to you that the writings of ancient Egypt convey one truth. And the people of modern North America that are Egyptians, so-called Egyptians, most of them are atheists. And we're saying to you straight up and down, the ancient Egyptian culture would have never accepted what you teach and what you believe. Because they were overly religious. And we're about to read for you right now an excerpt from plate 9B of the Papyrus of Ani. All right? So y'all can pull this up on the computer just like I'm doing. You can pull it up, you can read it. All right? This is the actual last section of this chapter 17. Is this the last section of chapter 17? I think so. Last section or the continuation of chapter 17. Okay, here's what we have. She is a flame which follows after Osiris, burning up his enemies. Also, for all the evil which is on me, it is what I have done among the lords of eternity. The lords of eternity. It is what I have done among the lords of eternity ever since I came down from my mother's womb. As for the 7 spirits, Emesti, Hapi, Dumutef, and Kebesenef, he who sees his father, he who is under his moringa tree or moringa tree, and Horus the eyeless, it is they who were set by Anubis as protection for the burial of Osiris. Now I know many of y'all don't have never heard these things read because most of y'all don't look into the documents. Even most of y'all that believe in this silly shit. Most of y'all just you just don't read the documents. Number one, because these guys don't teach the documents. The modern Egyptian, North American atheists, they don't teach the documents. Why don't they teach the documents? Because the documents say one thing and they say another. Now, with me just reading that for you, I want for you to pull out, and I want to ask y'all, what word doesn't belong here? If the ancient Kemites were atheists, what word here don't belong after I just read it? I'm going to read it again. She is a flame which follows after Osiris, burning up his enemies. As for all the evil which is on me, it is what I have done among the lords of eternity. Ever since I came down from my mother's womb. As for the seven spirits, Emesti, Hapi, Dumatef, Kubesanef, he who sees his father, he who is under the moringa tree, and Horus, the eyeless. It is they who were set by Anubis as protection for the burial of Osiris. What word doesn't belong here? If you're an atheist, Black News 102. If you're an atheist, what word don't belong here, man? Come on, y'all. I know you're listening, and I know everybody in this chat ain't new to this. What word is here that shouldn't be here if the ancient Kemites were atheists? Come on, I'm gonna give it 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, really, there are 2 sets of words here. Really, there's 2 sets of words here. The first word set is Lords of Eternity. Lords of Eternity doesn't work with the atheist concept. Do you understand that? The second word sequence here that does not belong in an atheist concept and construct is as for the 7 spirits. And it names the 7 spirits. Let's name them. Osiris, Emesti, Hapi, Dumatef, Kubesanef, Horus, and Anubis. 7 spirits named here. Now, if you're an atheist and everything ends when you end, and there's nothing but food, shelter, and clothing, that's not only your only concern, but that's all you're made of as relates to the atheist program and agenda, then what are we here doing with your document speaking about lords of eternity and 7 spirits, and even the spirit of Anubis, Hapi, and Osiris is spoken here? But y'all said Osiris and the rest of these guys are nature principles. But the book says they are spirits. Just take a moment to think about that. Just take a moment to think about that. Uncle Keck from the Amin Ra Squad says them ain't real gods, man. He says those ain't real gods. He said those are only to be understood as nature principles. But the actual book itself talks about Ka, noun, spirit. And it says 7 spirits. And it names 7 spirits. In the names of the 7 spirits are those that are often used in your so-called atheist culture. Osiris, Horus, Hapi, Anubis. But the book says Ka. Let me show you something even more so about Osiris. This very same book says Osiris is not only a spirit, but Osiris is a soul. You don't believe me? You don't believe me? I said these Negroes been lying to y'all and won't let you read the books. Because when you read the books, you can see the difference between the ancient Egyptian and these modern so-called North American atheists. The book not only just said that Osiris is a spirit, but this same book also says Osiris is the soul of Ra. A soul is not a nature principle. A soul is Ba. It is a noun. Where is that, Mike? You lying. That ain't in that book. It is in the same section of this book where it talks about autofellatio. Plate 7b, it says, he is Osiris, otherwise said, his name is Ra. He is the praise of Ra. He is the soul of Ra, with he whom himself copulated. So now not only is Osiris a spirit, but Osiris is a soul. A soul and a spirit are not nature principles. I said the ancient Egyptian was overly religious, dogmatic, zealot, and non-atheist. But the new North American foolish counterfeit Egyptian, wannabe Egyptian, are always atheists. I just read for you a section that called out 7 spirits, not 7 nature principles. Let's call those again. Let's read this again so you won't be able to get away from it. A spirit and a soul is not a nature principle. So sorry. So do I believe in this shit? Of course I don't. But the ancient Kemites did. I want to say to you that the modern so-called North American Egyptian or Kemite, they don't believe in this shit either. Because they're trying to tell you that the writers of these documents didn't even know what they were talking about. You're an atheist, dickhead. Excuse me. You're an atheist. The writers of this were not. And they even wrote cosmologies so that you wouldn't be able to change it. So that what they intended, written about when your heart stops and your brain ceases to function, they wrote what they believed. Let's read it one more time and let's point out words that should not be in a so-called atheist culture. She is a flame which follows after Osiris, first spirit, burning up his enemies, all for the evil which is on me. It is what I have done among the lords of eternity, the lords of eternity, the lords of eternity. If you're an atheist and you're in Kemet, you are contradicting the book, Lords of Eternity. One more time, I gotta say that again because it sounds so sweet. Lords of Eternity. Ever since I came down from my mother's womb. As for these 7 spirits, Amnesty, number 2, Happy, number 3, Dumatef, number 4, Quebesanef, number 5. He who sees his father, he who is under his moringa tree, and Horus, number 6, the eyeless. It is he who were set by Anubis, number 7, as protection for the burial of Osiris. 7 spirits. We just named them. This book says Osiris, Hapi, Amnesty, Dumatef, Quebesanef, Horus, and Anubis are spirits, not nature principles, nigga. Excuse my language. But you should feel raped at this point because they've told you to be atheist and follow this culture. They've told you that the ancient Kemites weren't religious. But we just read a portion of a text that talked about even the Lords of Eternity. Jabari is not an atheist, brother, and he is one of the better practitioners. I didn't say Jabari is an atheist. I said Jabari teaches that these are nature principles when this book says they are souls. Don't come here doing that because I'll throw your ass out. We don't have time for foolishness. If you come in here with Jabari's ball sack in your mouth, I'm going to tell you to take that out, take his balls out of your mouth, and put those nuts outside the door of this classroom. Because in this classroom, we're not discussing fuckery and mind fuckery of the people. We're giving the people the real truth. So don't come over here with Jabari's dick in your mouth. Excuse my language. Drop that at the door. Act like the dog that you are. Drop the bone and come in here, sit down and be a man. Jabari teaches that these are nature principles. But I just said the book says they are souls, spirits, Ba, Ka. And I even proved that Osiris is both a soul and a spirit as relates to what your books say. But these niggas tell you that no, this is just the wind and this is just water and this is just... Get the fuck out of here. Excuse my language. Excuse my language. But I had to turn up because he come in here with Corin's penis in his mouth. Take the devil's nutsack and drop it outside if you want to learn truth. Because they won't teach you. When was the last time Jabari ever taught you these things, stupid? See, you're the reason for this stream. You're the people, this guy, what's his name? Neophyte Sage. Some shit that don't mean nothing. And you definitely are a neophyte. A new school fool. And this is why y'all get taken advantage of because you won't study and won't research things. Jabari teaching you to look around for nature and the water and the sky and the wind. But this book says something else. You ought to go spit in Jabari's face for not teaching you spirituality. You ought to go spit in Polite's face for teaching you that his God is his wife. But this book says there are a Lord of all, a King of kings, and a ruler of rulers. We're about to read it. So what the fuck is you teaching? Jabari? Brother Polite? Ankh, all of y'all have a perverted, different teaching that differs from not only each other, but differs from the actual books. Yeah, Ankh, the real black atheist. His name comes from Kemet. The Amen Ra Squad, the logo's got a pyramid on it. But this nigga's an atheist. I said there has been not one atheist culture in Africa that you can find me of being a culture and a society or kingdom over 100 years long that were atheists and that had a system and a methodology of teaching against spirituality. I say if you're an atheist, you're not African. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Soul Star is in here putting real names in the chat. Lord have mercy. Am I supposed to erase that? Shit, no. These people got the freedom of speech. As long as you in here ain't trying to block people from learning the truth, you got free reign to speak your mind. God damn it. Don't come in here with Brother Jabari's balls in your mouth and Jabari hasn't taught you a darn thing. Now, if you got something truthful to say, something real to say, put it in that chat and it'll stay. Indeed, Soul Star. Now let's go here. Let's go to the introductory hymn of Osiris. You know, the guy that has a spirit and a soul. Osiris is a spirit and a soul. Damn. Now let's read this one. Because in this one, it's going to be another smack in the face to those that have been teaching y'all that atheism is African. Atheism is Kemet. It's going to be even a smack in the face to those that teach you Kemet is only about nature. Get out of here, man. Sit your behind down. Huh? So let's begin to read the introductory hymn to Osiris here. Second portion, reading portion. This one talks about worship. Worship. I said worship. And let me tell you this before we do this. Worship really isn't a thing that you do. Worship is a way of life. Worship is a lifestyle. The priesthood of Kemet lived a lifestyle of worship in their own deities, their own gods. They dealt with worship, a lifestyle, not a thing that you do when Sonetta turns his camera on and you go dress up, you know, put your trinkets on and your jingly stuff and your big old ankh like Jabari carry, and you put on a little rouge and a little mascara and shit so you can look good for Sa's camera. No. That's not worship. That's not worship. I said the ancient priesthood lived it, breathed it, walked it, ate it, and they died it. They died that way. Maybe this is why y'all didn't make Dr. Ben a Papyrus, because you niggas really don't believe in this stuff. Did y'all make Dr. Ben a Papyrus? I'm just making sure. So making sure that I ain't making a mistake. Did y'all make Dr. Ben a Papyrus? Another point that lets me know that these guys are playing dress up and they're not teaching it and they're not living it because it's not worship. It's just dress up. Shaka Amos ain't been this all his life. Shaka Amos went to the swap meet and got that weave. Shaka Amos went to the Koreans and got that weave to put in his head. But I said worship is a lifestyle, much like in the Bible, where God calls the prophets from the womb of their mother and says, I have known you since before your first breath. That's a worship. That's a lifestyle. That's a way of living. But Shaka, that thing on your head is not worship. That thing on your head is called learned behavior. Just like homosexuality. And peace to my brother Abazu. Alex Ingram. Damn. The introductory hymn to Osiris, it starts off with that word worship. Worship of Osiris Winnifer, the great God, in caps. The great God, even in the Medunetta. The great God who dwells in the finite known, King of eternity. Now, Unc, you're telling me and all of these people that there ain't nothing outside of food, shelter, and clothing in your life on this earth. You're going to have to deal with the contradiction, not only in this realm, but when you die, when you go to your non-God and you find out that your non-God is actually the King of eternity, the great God, what are you going to say to that? And what the fuck do you say to these people after they've never heard this? They've never heard Brother Polite read and teach this. They've never heard Jabari read and teach this. They've never heard Unc read and teach this. But they've all heard you all be led down the road of non-spirituality, non-African nature and culture, and atheism. But the books say that there is a great God. The books talk about worship. The books say that even the great God is a spirit who has a soul. The great God who dwells in the finite known, King of eternity, Lord of everlasting, who passes millions of years in his lifetime. This is not a nature principle. This is talking about real live eternity. It says this great God, this King of eternity, this Lord of everlasting, who passes millions of years. Years is something analogous to us in this dimension of space and time. Firstborn of Nut, begotten of Geb. And let me let me let you know that Nut and Geb are brother and sister. Sorry. Heir, comma, Lord of the Weret crown, whose white crown is tall, sovereign of gods and men. Sovereign of gods and men. He has taken the crook and the flail and the office of his forefathers. Y'all, how many of y'all see nature at play in this? I see the spirit realm. I see eternity being talked about. I see souls and spirits being talked about. May your heart, which is in the desert land, be glad, for your son Horus is firm on your throne, while ye have appeared as Lord of Busiris. as the ruler who is in Abydos. The two lands flourish in vindication because of you, in the presence of the Lord of all. The Lord of all. Is this maybe what Akhenaten was trying to institute the idea? Maybe Akhenaten read these books too and said, wait a minute, something's wrong. There is a great God. We shouldn't be worshiping all of these different nut-ass deities. There's one that's greater than them all. And here in this book, the Kemet priesthood wrote, and I quote, the two lands flourish in vindication because of you in the presence of the Lord of all. All that exists is ushered in by him in his name of face to whom men are ushered. Which men, the souls and the spirits of men, are ushered into the face of this Lord of all. Yeah? What the hell does nature have to do with after you die? See, let me stop and point that out. If these things and these spirits and these souls and these deities are nature principles, what in the hell do you need a nature principle after death for? Does that even make sense? Come on, somebody. Because somebody gonna still come here with that argument. Nah, man, you wrong. You wrong. You wrong. But if these deities are only nature principles and not spirits and souls, as the book says, what are you doing interacting with nature after you die? Are y'all thinking? Because the book says all of these spirits interact with the soul of mankind, after death, after this dimension, after everything that happens on Geb in your mixed up ideology that Geb is only the earth. After you die on the earth, what's the need for Geb to be in the spirit realm? What's the need for Osiris to be in the spirit realm? What's the need for Kobesanef and Hapi and Anubis? Because we just read the spirits. They were spirits. They are spirits. And we're going to read it again before we end it. Does that make sense to you all? I tell you, something's wrong in North American Kemet. Something's wrong with the fact that these guys will never crack these books open and read them for you all. Then they walk around talking about they're atheists. But we say we're reading Lord of all. Perfect sense. Plus Beats says, peace to you, Plus Beats. And y'all make sure that y'all go back and you rewind this after the stream is over, because we started with a particular reading that exposed the fact that there are 7 deities called spirits in this book. Literal ka, literal nouns, literal spirits. And even we pointed out one of them is a spirit and a soul. Not from Brother Jabari's teaching, not from Polite's teaching, not from Ank's teaching, but from the book. From the book. And we're still here reading Lord of all. Let's go in a little bit more. Let's go to the second portion of it. It says, hail to you, King of kings, Lord of lords, ruler of rulers. Is this what Akhenaten was bucking against the whole Kemet priesthood and the whole of ancient Kemet with this pantheon of deities? Was Akhenaten saying, y'all got it wrong. Y'all just making up shit, but I'm looking at the books. Akhenaten was the sole administrator of monotheism in ancient Kemet. Akhenaten knew something that Jabari and Polite and Ankh and the rest of these nut-ass niggas won't teach you. The book says one thing, and these Negroes say another. Let's keep reading. Hail to you, King of kings, Lord of lords, ruler of rulers, who took possession of the two lands, even in the womb of Nut. He rules the plains of the silent land, even the golden of body, blue of head, on whose arms is turquoise, a pillar of myriads, broad of breast, kindly of countenance, who is in the sacred land. May you grant power in the sky, might on earth, vindication in God's domain. Golly, man. Let me read that again. Because these Negroes are saying that there ain't no God and God ain't in existence. And they're teaching Kemet. But let's go back and read this again. May you grant power in the sky, might on earth, vindication in the God's domain. And this word God here is capitalized and even accentuated in the Middle Netter. In the God's domain, big God's domain. A journeying downstream to Buceris as a living soul, a living soul, a living soul. Y'all thinking that this is it? If you in Kemet, you're a Kemite, and you just gonna party and do all of the wickedness that you want and not worry about it. Because Ankh said there ain't no real God. Be like me, the real black atheist. But this thing is talking about a journeying downstream to Buceris as a living soul. That same word sequence is even present in the Bible, where the breath of lives interacts with tangible material. Creates you a living soul, the breath of life. That breath that activates the mind and that feeds the blood that we spoke about in the beginning of this, the interaction of the Ba, the Ka, and the body. Come on, man. A living soul. And you're an atheist. I said, that's why they don't preach these books. That's why you only hear Brother Michael reading the depth of these things. Because these niggas have taught y'all, peace to Blackwood X, peace to you Blackwood, have taught y'all so bad. And when you go back and read the books, they say totally opposite. As a living soul and a journeying upstream to Abydos as a heroine, to go in and out without hindrance at all the gates of the Duat. May there be given to me bread from the house of cool water and a table of offerings from Heliopolis. Heliopolis is a place. Heliopolis ain't a place in the great by and by. Heliopolis is a city-state in Kemet. And it's talking about a table of offerings. Not only present on the ground, but being offered to the gods. And this tangible nature intermeshing and clapping hands with the afterlife. And you niggas are atheists? Table of offerings from Heliopolis, my toes being firmly planted in the field of reeds. May the barley and emmer which are in it belong to the Ka of Osiris Ani. Why does it end with this statement? Belong to the Ka of the Osiris Ani. Ani was a person that died. The Kemet priesthood wrote this book of spells for Ani. In this book, Ani's Ka interacts with the soul of Osiris and becomes one, and even becomes conscious again through this great God, as the book of Going Forth by Day relates. So, in truth, what the Papyrus of Ani is telling you is that you cannot be an atheist and a Kemite, because if you are an atheist, you will have no life after death. Ani has to become one with the Ka and the Ba of Osiris. Read the last line again. May the barley and emmer which are in it belong to the Ka of the Osiris Ani. I bet you Ani would spit in Brother Polite's face, spit in the atheist Ank's face, and even spit in Jabari's face for telling you all that, oh, these are not real spirits. These are nature principles. Oh, this is the sky and this is the earth. But nigga, I said they're called spirits by name. And even Osiris has a spirit and a soul, or is a spirit and a soul, and interacts with the real spirit and souls of the dead. Is that too much for y'all? Is that Let's go back and read one more time, because some of y'all missed it. And some of y'all ain't gonna rewind this because it's too painful. But I'm going to name for you 7 spirits. Spirits, not nature principles. And I want you all that are in Kemet, I want you to argue with your own books and not with the messenger. I want you to argue with your own teachers that are teaching you that there is nothing after death. And that, I'm sorry about that, y'all. I had to take another phone call. Forgive that. I'm sorry. Well, we're back. Let me wake my daughter up because she got to take her medicine. So y'all give me 1 second. Naomi, get up. Hey. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Her mama called me like crazy to wake her up so she could take her medicine and interrupting the lesson, but that's all right. We got to take care of the babies. And we got to take care of the black folk with baby minds. And I appreciate 125th Street graduate. Fam says, teach, brother, teach. Appreciate you, man. Plus, Beat says you need spirits for any living thing to function. That's right. That's part of even what we just read when we pointed out this particular part. Living soul. And we talked about it in the beginning of the stream, that even how the Bible qualifies what is a living soul. Those things that have the breath of life. And because you have the breath of life, that breath is the actual catalyst that powers the spirit or the mind. Every time you breathe, you feed your bloodstream and you feed your mind. The Ka, the spirit, is a noun. The Ka is the mind. And the Ba is the soul. The Ka's interaction with the actual earth plane causes you to be a living soul. When you breathe, you become a living soul as relates to what the Bible teaches. Now, are we saying that Osiris is breathing and all of this? That's for you to figure out. But we are definitely talking about living souls in a so-called culture that teaches today atheism. It says here, listen, and vindication in God's domain, in the God's domain, a journeying downstream to Buceris as a living soul. A living soul. That's also in the introductory hymn to Osiris. But let's go back to this and visit this, because I know we've given you a lot in an hour, but I want to revisit this, because this, the first part we started with, we're going to go out on that same note, but I want to point out to you something stark and something that should shake you to your core if you've been taught to be a Kemite, but you are an atheist. You take all of the spirituality of Kemet and you equate it only to tangible nature. Nature has nothing to do with spirits and souls. Huh? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Now, every atheist, you should disagree at this point vehemently, because the atheist has no concern for when your heart stops and your brain ceases function. The prime atheist says that it's only about clothing, food, and shelter. That's all your life is about. And then you die. But these books talk about life after death. Plate 9b, going forth by day. It says, she is a flame which follows after Osiris. Count these, family. We're going to count 7 spirits. Osiris is the first. Burning up his enemies. As for all the evil which is upon me, or which is on me, it is I who have done among the lords of eternity, the lords of eternity, the lords of eternity. Ever since I came down from my mother's womb, as for these 7 spirits, and it names 4 more. We have 1 already, Osiris. These 7 spirits, Imesti, 2, Hapi, 3, Damutef, 4, Kobesinef, 5. He who sees his father, he who is under the moringa tree, and Horus, 6, the eyeless. It is they who were set by Anubis, 7, as protection for the burial of Osiris. That is 7 spirits I just named for you. Not 7 nature principles, God damn it. Anybody from this day forth that is willing to contradict the writings of their own book and the own thoughts of the ancient priesthood and the people that allowed the priesthood to write these documents for them when they die, anyone who is teaching Kemet today and disagreeing with the inception of these documents is a snake oil salesman, a shyster, and is trying to lead you into destruction and confusion and pseudoism and neophyte foolery. Neophyte, are you still there? The guy named Neophyte, the new school fool. Has Jabari and them ever taught you this? That you need to be worrying about your soul? Stupid. Now let me also say this. In closing, man, listen to the smoke detector. Well, the devil busy. Hold on, y'all. Goddamn smoke. No, that was way in the front. Okay. But as relates to what you've seen here today, and this is only the first of, and we're going to keep going in with this because this is just a continuation of the previous videos, destruction of these modern fool-ass teachers of Kemet today. But reading that, how can you rightly tell people to follow Kemet as an atheist, man? How can you rightly tell people to follow Kemet as only understanding the deities in Kemet as nature principles, when this book goes way beyond nature into death and beyond? Again, what can nature do for you when you die? You need interaction with a soul and a spirit over there, in that dimension, in that realm. And this book talks about it. That's the whole purpose of this book, the going forth by day, so that you will not die thinking that that's it. The purpose of this book, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, or the going forth by day, its whole purpose is to teach you the spirituality of the realm of the dead. So that you'll know that it's not just about food, shelter, and clothing, your existence. No, you have a portion of you that will live on and that will even interact with those that are called deity or souls or spirits. The Lord of eternity, the great God, the King of kings, the Lord of lords, the ruler of rulers. All of these things are in these documents. So how now are you a Kemite atheist? Don't make no damn sense. Not a bit of sense. I even had a debate with Jabari about these things, and this Negro here has access to these documents and knows what I told him in our very first debate was some of these very same truths that I just laid out here. And this nigga still teaching y'all that those deities are only nature principles. When I tell you he don't give a shit about you, he don't give a shit about you. Even the priesthood of Kemet, although perverted, they at least gave a map for their fool ass afterlife experience, because they cared enough about the people that were in the land of the living that when you die, we're going to try to tell you what's going on afterwards. And we're going to tell you how to interact with those that are living souls in the realm of the dead. But these niggas today, I hope y'all enjoyed that, and I want you to come back later because we're going to do something else that's really, 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 really funny. And Sonetta says, free nature boy. Fucking fool.
See my months feeling like days, days feeling like hours, hours feeling like seconds. My blessings hold on my power. We just get the power. Wealth that highlights some cowards, concealing all the knowledge, but flossing all of their dollars, man. What the hell is going on? Can't wrap my brain around this thing. You hear my pain in every song. I did my dirt, I cleaned it up. I got my right to correct my wrong. Ain't willing to forgive, no, you ain't strong. Go and say I forgive you. Lord, I said I'm with you. Open my people mind, show them the bigger picture. No, don't wanna hit you. No, I don't wanna split you.
Peace to Plus Beats. Peace to Blackwood X. Peace to Mr. Terrific. Peace to Troll Killer. Did I say peace to Plus Beats. Peace to 125th Graduate. Peace to Soul Star Soul. Peace to nut ass neophyte Sage. Peace to Illy Walvo. And wait a minute. Stop. This nigga Illy Walvo says you're trying to sound like Batty Boy Khalil Wet Pen. Are you fucking stupid? Let me get rid of you too. Let me get rid of you too. I'll bring your stupid ass back over here mentioning that faggot in my chat. Troll Killer. Peace to Troll Killer. Peace to Abazu Unc Amin. Peace to Black News 102. We don't die, we multiply. Peace to Graham Boston. Peace to Kendrick Powell. Peace to Vox Insanity. Peace and RBG Hebrew